Okay, so in this part of the series, we're going to get into a bit more detail on the elements in the model, like the floors and the walls to start with. So I've got a rogue element here, so sometimes this may happen. Again, you can trim these or align to face, or we'll go to the ground floor, and for some reason that has moved. Something maybe I was testing in the past. Get rid of that. Okay, so what I'll do is start to look at some makeups of the floors and the walls, and I'm going to go to, say, this view here and look at the junctions, or look at the makeups of, say, this wall and this floor. So at the moment, this outdoor floor, it's just a generic, and I want to make it a landscape item. It is set down 100 mil off the ground floor. You can see as I adjust this, I could go maybe -50, for example. I could also reuse some of those tools, which is to add the dimensions and then lock it in place. So here and here, I could say it's like 50, and I could also, grab that and drive it down 100 for here, and I could, go and grab that and lock it in as well. Numerous ways to do it. I did scale down, scale up. So that was 1 to 20, 1 to 50. Just doing it here. I'll just keep it at 1 to 20 for now, and I'm just going to show you how you could make up this particular external bit of ground or floor work. So just to show you what's here in the drop downs, there's a number of tools here, a number of preset slabs. So we go to in situ concrete, that's showing the makeup of that slab. If we go to, say, it's another one we've got here, block and beam, that will show that slab, and then one at the top here, this one is metal deck, that will show up that one as well. So the way I'm displaying this is going in the fine detail. That's how it's going to display as coarse, so I won't show that information. But when I flick to fine, all of that's going to display with a lot more detail. I want to make this one though with some gravel, some sand for leveling, and then put some pavers in here because it's an external courtyard slab. So I will just go back to the generic slab and show you how to do that. The other one I've done here is I've actually changed this generic slab to be a standard timber wood finish. And if you want to look at that, just to reverse engineer it, this tells you here in the structure the items that it's made up of. So 19 mil, or could be 18 or 22 mil for the actual flooring, depending on how it's engineered. This one does have some chipboard underneath it, so it's got 22 mil, and the structure is a timber joist rafter at 200 mil, which is the structural material. So we'll go through and do this from scratch, but just to navigate you around this is the finish, and then we've got a couple of components which make up the structure. So the main structure, which is the structural material, so those are your 200 thick joists, and then this sheathing, this chipboard, would be kind of your bracing before you go and lay those oak flooring, and then you may have some insulation, some other things which you can add here as well. So let's just do this for the external slab here, and I'll show you how it's done from scratch. So we go to Edit Type, Structure, and I'm going to add some extra elements. So I'm going to hit this twice just to add 2 elements, and I want this to have a couple that are going to sit the core boundary. Because this is landscaping, it's a little bit different. I will move these up, so I'm just selecting and moving up, and this one, just for the sake of the demo, I'll move it to the top, which is going to be our pavers. So I want structure 1 to be, say, 200 mil for it's going to be my gravel fill, then 50 mil for my leveling sand, and then 50 mil for the size of the pavers. It's not really structure because it's resting on the earth, so I don't need to make a structural material here. This one I'm going to deem as being my finish. There are other items here if you want to have a thermal air layer or a substrate membrane layer, it can all be on this as well. So I'm just going to put this on finish 1. We'll get more into how these all work when we get to doors and walls and cleanups. Now at the moment there's no materials, but I'll just go and say OK for this. You can also hit this button here to preview it. That's how it's going to look. So this is just previewed in section. That's basically the only way to do it with this. Maybe the leveling sand needs to be 75. We can start to drive it accordingly as needed. Maybe the pavers come in 40 mil, and maybe for council reasons or code reasons you might need to make that 300. So just flexing it here, we're going to go OK and OK, and here we have it. I did lock that dimension down here, so it's always going to be 100 mil. There'll be like a little threshold, and here it is in the view. Now it's not showing any detail in terms of hatching. Now the workaround is you could go and hatch it here with the filled region, but really you want to use the materials inside of this floor to do that. So we're going to go and hit structure, and I'm going to start with the first one being concrete block or concrete paver. Now there's all these default ones in the application you could choose from, so let me just cancel it out. I'll just go to this one here, which I want to be the sand, and we'll go and add that. So this one is concrete sand. It'll give you some of the appearance. This one I've kind of mucked around with, so I will just choose something else for now, just for the sake of keeping this nice and simple. So I've gone to edit type, edit, and we'll do the finish here. So I'm choosing material by category, and I just want this to be, say, masonry units for now. So there's all these ones that are built into the application. We'll add a couple of new ones in a second. I'll do it from scratch. I'm just going to choose some of the typical ones. Here we have concrete masonry units. Here is the appearance of how they might look. That's just updating. There's also these little tools here to show you what it might look as a cube or as a wall. We'll do a lot more on this in advanced materials. This is just out of the box stuff. And of course it's because I've got graphic stuff running here at the moment, it'll take a little more time to process. Here's how it's going to look. So this could potentially be our pavers, and under the graphics here, when you go and cut it, it's going to display like this. When you go and look at it in plan view, it's going to display like this. So we'll just go OK, and you can see it's updated here in the preview. So now we've got our pavers. Let me go and create something from scratch that could represent the sand, and I'll do this in a very basic way. You may want to have your materials named with a prefix of your own personal materials. So I'm going to create a new material, and I'm going to rename it, and I'm going to call it SWMA, and we'll call it sand. Go OK. Now with that, I want to add materials to it. So you'll notice that this one that I've just created, there's nothing here in the graphics or the appearance. It's all very basic and generic. I want to add some of the preset ones. So just here, I want to go down and open an asset browser, and I want to find something that could be sand. So there are numerous libraries here for different regions. So these are physical materials, these are appearance materials, and these are physical assets. I'm just going to do the search just to bring up what I need to bring. So I'm going to type in sand, and you can see here we've got 3 options for sand. Now some of them will give you information on physical and thermals. I'm just going to choose the generic site work one and load that in. And now you can see it's showing here. It has an image. When I go to the graphics, it may or may not show hatches. Now I want to add hatches here, so the one I'm going to focus on is just in the cut pattern. I want it to be a sand cut, so we'll make it dense, compacted sand, and you could even change the color should you want. For the demo purposes, I will make the sand a browny sandy looking color, and go apply, go OK. And now you'll see here in the preview it's showing up as being a dense sand. A little bit closer, you'll see that the color is there. The last one I want to do here is the gravel. So back to structure, back to edit, this one here. So all I did was go and create a new material and right click and go rename, and I want to call this one SWMA underscore gravel, and under the asset browser type in gravel, and there's one here for gravel compact. It will tell you sometimes where a lot of the stuff is loaded, so gravel compact, gravel crush, gravel loose, site work, some of them for stone, etc. I will just do it compact because that's pretty much what I need. And here we have gravel compact, how it might look. It's just got that old sand graphic there. Let's do a scene. Usually everything looks good when it's a sphere. You can go and manipulate all these. We'll be doing a lot on materials later. And the cut pattern or the surface pattern, because this is going to be showing, I just want a cut pattern. So you might find something that might represent gravel here. Looks like it's just glass and gypsum plaster. You could go and choose something that represents a hatching graphic that you like. So maybe a crosshatch like that. If you want to load in your own ones, there are ways to do that. You go and create a new fill pattern, give it a name, and then there are tools to customize exactly how you want it to be. There are other ways you could also load in information, but there's a number of add-ins that will do this for you as well. So I'll just leave it as is. There's files in the background that control all of this, so you could go into the back end of the engine to do it, but I'll just keep it simple. Crosshatch and go apply. Okay, and there it is showing up. Maybe it's a little bit dense. I will go back and change that crosshatch to be 3mm. So I'll do it as the, keep it as that one there, because the ground will show up a little bit different. Did that go through? That one. And again, all I did for the colors, you can go and pick the colors that would work for you. Go apply. Okay, and here it is. So with that, we've got our pavers, our leveling sand, and our gravel. Go OK. Go OK. And here it is in our view, and we can see those colors that we added are showing up here. So that's a really simple way to create a slab. Now, same thing applies for a floor. What I want to do in the next one is show you how to do a wall type.